All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Last time I was on the podcast, I wasn't a year younger, but I had a birthday within since the last time I actually broadcasted. And luckily, nobody's watching this, so it doesn't really matter. But what I've learned is in the time that I have been doing this, I've done it for a couple times. I had done a couple of videos, if you will, of myself talking because I can't really call them anything other than that. Just into my phone, and the sensation that I got from that wasn't the same as actually going live. So it was strange and I don't know if it's just because it was the first couple times, but now that I know that it's not, it's not like you're gonna be uncovered. Maybe I won't feel the same thing, but I I noticed that this was kind of therapeutical for me since I don't really talk to anybody um, about my personal feelings or anything like that. So um, after the last few times or a couple of videos that I put up, I actually currently now we are or I am live, and so you kind of know that whatever you have out there is out there. At least if there's one person watching, somebody can hold you accountable to something. So it's kind of an interesting feeling for those who haven't done this before. um I just thought of something. World notes to pick on globe. This is the other good thing about it. If I was actually working for somebody doing this, I wouldn't be able to just take notes and talk about it. I don't think. I mean, maybe it could be a part of the show. Oh, I did that. Um, so I started this particular post today because Jeffrey Epstein came up again, and I'm actually going to type him into the computer right quick just to see what kind of news is happening with him. But so today a an anchor, I think her name is Amy Robach. Oh, I know who that is. Um, she was caught on video basically saying that the network that she works for had covered up a story that they had about Epstein at least 3 months ago, I think is what she said. And I think, uh, well, essentially the network said that what they had uncovered was not verifiable, so therefore they chose not to run the story. Now, what I think is most significant about um, any of this is the fact that it won't go away, but it also needs to not go away or needs not to go away. And this is very important. And it's just my opinion. But this is weird. Like, this is a weird story. And we should, people should really pay attention and not bury their heads on this one because there's a, there's a lot of fishiness going on and there are a lot of people connected. Now, some people want to connect this guy to Bill Clinton, and I think even Trump put out something on his Twitter pertaining to that. I could be wrong. I actually don't read all of his tweets, so but I think I read something like that. And then other people actually put on social media and various other areas that Clinton was responsible for, or the Clintons were responsible for his death in prison or in jail or whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, the story about this guy is incredible. First of all, he lived in like an $80 million mansion in New York that he didn't pay for. Somebody gave him. He was. Some people said he was a billionaire. Some people said he was super wealthy. I mean, he was definitely wealthy, but some people said that he was a billionaire. I mean, what's the difference? You have $700 million, or you have $1 billion, or even 200 million. To a billionaire, I'm sure it makes a difference, but to the average person, once you start getting into those figures, there's not much difference, in terms of how a billionaire lives versus somebody who has 500 million or $700 million. I would think, even though Puff Daddy was on a video saying that he like $1 billion is close to broke. So let that be a perspective for you. So the reason why this is important and shouldn't go away is because the people affiliated with this guy are the people that provide the policies and procedures for everyday life. And what I mean by everyday life, I mean everyday life. Like everything that you do, everything that every place that you go, everything that you eat, everything that you see flying through the air, everything that you see on television, everything that you do, the people that were affiliated with this guy are responsible for. And so what that means is, if this guy is who he says or who they say he was, and if he did what they say he did, and if they have proof of that, and we as the general public don't actually have access to that information, then that in itself is a problem, first of all. Secondly, if this guy was able to do the things that they say he did, such as traffic young children, for the purpose of who knows what, with the rich and famous, or maybe just himself. I don't know the actual truth because we don't have access to that information. But if they do, or if he did what they say he did, then what does that mean for us as American people, or you know regular, normal, working people uh, in the various countries? Because apparently he had affiliations with other countries as well. So what does that mean to the average man who is connected and affiliated with some of the richest and most powerful people in the world? What does that mean if this guy was taking taking place, or doing some atrocious acts, things that most people don't even can't even fathom doing? So what does that say for you guys? I don't know what it says, but you know what? Is a great movie to watch that gives you kind of insight, even though it's in a different language. The ones that I watched was uh, the girl with the dragon tattoo. I think is the name of it, and I'm gonna look it up for the sake of giving you the appropriate. Um, the girl with the dragon tattoo, and I think it was an original film, not from here, but the origin was from another country. So actually, David Fincher did the one that was produced in America, but the original one is the one you actually want to watch. Um, the one in America, even the original one was not incredible, but it gives you some insight into what's really happening. So I would recommend watching that movie in the original version, the version that came out. I think it's a Swedish film, and I think the name of the person who started it is Stieg or Stieg Larson, Stie. Larson. And there's a trilogy. I actually watched all of them in the foreign language, the Swedish language. And, the way they make films there is, um, let's just say they're not as animated as, there's not quite the ebb and flow of emotion that you see in American films or films where there are people that have a bit more passion. And that is a no knock against their films or the people. I'm just saying it's just a different type of filming than maybe the average American is into. But I like that kind of stuff. But anyway, take a look at that, and then if you want to go down the rabbit hole of Jeffrey Epstein, you should, because again, these people are responsible for the policies and procedures, and if there were affiliations with U.S. presidents and some of the richest businessmen in America. What I mean by policies and procedures, I mean imagine how a president can affect your future, and imagine the person who has the interests that they say these people had. Imagine how they feel about the average person. They have actually no regard for morality or right or wrong. And so, with that, you can imagine why and how some of the things that take place in government in the country take place, because what you consider to be bad, they don't necessarily consider to be bad, and that is scary. I will do some more in depth research on exactly what connections uh, uh, Epstein had with specifically who, and I'll try to get some verifying sources, or at least get a number of sources that corroborate um, the particular offenses and connections that he has, and then just do maybe a piece on it. I'm sure there are other people that have done. I mean, they have research assistants and people working for them that can do a much more extensive search than I can. But I will still do my diligence, as I think everybody should, to figure out exactly what's happening. The guy was not. He did not kill himself in prison, and that's scary. It's weird, and there should be people. Essentially, people should be up in arms about it. Not because they killed him. I mean, maybe he deserved to die. I don't. I mean, that's a mean thing to say, but um, if he committed the offenses that they say he did, then he probably did. But what I mean by that is, if they did kill, then there is no justice. And what does that mean for you if there is no justice? It means that you go to work every day, you come home every day, you pay your taxes, you try to do the right thing, and there are people out there doing the wrong thing, and they're getting away with it. Now, we can go down this road multiple places and multiple times, but that is strange to me. So think about Dane, who was somebody who I really, really admired and thought of as just a just a cool person who was obviously cultured and had done some really cool experiences in his life, and really lived what I thought was a full life, maybe more than a full life actually, because of the all the things that he did. But there are people that think that he actually didn't kill himself either, and so he did end up dying after his girlfriend started to get a little wild and crazy and expose some people to some things, or about some things, or expose some people. really put them on a spot in a place where they are rubbing shoulders with people who matter to them. And it would be like what she did would be like if you were in high school and you were dating a girl and she got up and told all your deepest, darkest secrets to to everybody that you knew, plus the whole school. And I feel like that's what happened at I think it was Cannes when she got up and made her speech. If people haven't seen that speech, I don't remember his girlfriend's name, but you should check her out as well. You should check out that speech as well because he ended up dying not too long after that. I wouldn't say shortly after that, but not too long after that. And he actually, if you watch his series, you can start to see a change in him, maybe midway through the series. Now, some people said he was a troubled man. Even his friend Eric said that he was going through some uh, dark days during that time, and I think even his mother said that too. So could all be just conspiracy theories. However, the point of the matter is that some weird things are happening, and the least we could do is get as many people to uncover the facts as possible until we can understand exactly what happened. Because the people responsible for distributing the facts to us as people may not be unbiased, and they may not be able to really uh, do the best job without any kind of um, pressure from the powers that be. So, something to think about.